And at 10, glitch trap. Glitch trap is technically supposed to be a glitch in the grand scheme of the FNAF story, okay? Even though this doesn't seem to truly be the case, it seems as if someone orchestrated his creation, but in the story that we're told, with the exception of Tape Girl's insider information we technically shouldn't have, glitch trap is an unintentional glitch within that game. Now, in our world this was an intentional feature, hence why I'm putting it at the top of the list, but by simple scariest glitch standards, technically glitch trap is the scariest and should be number 1. Because, you know, none of these other glitches will take over your brain and cause you to go on a mass killing spree because a kid serial killer possessed your noggin, but I mean, like, hey, well, what do I know, right? A lot. And at 9, mask safety. Mewtwo Gamer brought this one to my attention in a previous video, okay? And I wanted to say thank you for doing so. In the comments of another video, Mewtwo Gamer shared that they were playing a game of FNAF 2 when they put on their the good old Freddy mask and then went to check the screens and the mask remained on. This surprised and startled them, understandably. But like, I feel like looking through a mask like at a screen is kind of creepy. Like perhaps, maybe it's because I have like serial killer brain because of this series, but like, I don't know. Why keep the mask on? Okay, it's weird. Does it protect yourself from jump scares, okay? And also people spitting on you, because apparently that's a thing. I haven't had someone spit on me before, luckily, but like, I don't want it to happen, so I'm gonna keep my Freddy mask on. I'm gonna keep it on, and I'm gonna tell you to go away. But either way, looking at the screen through the mask is creepy.
Number 8, Bonnie pop-up. One of the glitches that was originally experienced in this game was actually via Scott Cawthon himself. And now, it wasn't so much a glitch as part of the play testing and development of the game, I suppose, but hey, you know, you gotta find things like this to avoid experiencing them in the future, and so at the time it was kind of a glitch, you know what I mean? Which is why I would still consider it one. Albeit one that was removed before the game's release, so not one that you experienced. You, the player. Scott was testing the mechanics for these animatronics when he found himself surprised by Bonnie, who had actually snuck up on the cameras and was actually in a place that they weren't really supposed to be in. This startled Scott, scaring him and firmly cementing that Bonnie was the most terrifying animatronic in the game. At least, in Scott's mind.
And at 7, Bonnie pop-up. One of the glitches that was originally experienced in this game was via Scott Cawthon himself. It wasn't so much a glitch as a part of the playtest and development of the game, I guess. You know what? You gotta find like things like this to avoid experiencing them in future games, not including Security Breach, which is why I'm gonna consider it a glitch, albeit one that was removed from the game before release. Scott was testing the mechanics of these animatronics for the first game when he found himself surprised by Bonnie, who had snuck up on the cameras and was in a place that they actually weren't supposed to be. This startled Scott, understandably, scaring him and then firmly cementing Bonnie as the most terrifying animatronic in his mind, because we all know that the most terrifying one is the fan. And at 6, you win! Loser? FNAF AR is certainly an interesting adaptation of the game, okay? Making your room the security office and having to defend yourself from animatronics using shocks, and then ordering more animatronics that will then attack you in your own home for the fun of it, I guess, is kinda horrifying. They're even shipping out animatronic versions of their famous serial killer. Haha. Don't know who thought that was a good idea. But according to Reddit user Plasma Dev, they experienced a glitch that did not make them happy. No, it wasn't a glitch that made Chica get a little too close. That would have made me very happy. Instead, he put it as, quote, "I was caught off guard while an animatronic was rushing me. I turned around and zapped the animatronic fast, and he disappeared like I was about to get jump scared. But it also made the noise as if I had won. I got the screen saying my streak increased, and I got the parts, except my streak reset after that screen. It appears that I zapped him at the last possible millisecond, and it registered as me both winning and losing," which I have to say is pretty damn brutal. Halfway through into number 5, red light, green light. Haha, what's scarier than an animatronic moving when you're not looking? How about an animatronic that moves when you are looking? Now, this is a glitch that some people have experienced because in a way, it isn't a glitch, but like if you see an animatronic that moves while you're watching it on a screen, but then there's static between that, it's normal, okay? However, the glitch happens when you see an animatronic just vanish without any static or darkness accompanying it, and it is possible. This is something that some players like Mewtwo Gamer again have experienced. It's creepy and oddly not uncommon, but like I mean if this were like Squid Game or any other topical reference, any animatronics caught moving this way would immediately be eliminated. And at 4, go Twitches. Go Twitches. Go Twitches. Yes, I'm referencing the Disney Channel original movie Twitches, and yes, I'm using it in reference to FNAF. Deal with it. Apparently, the animatronics can actually just start freaking out when they're in the middle of jump scaring you, resulting in probably what is honestly a scary scarier jump scare. Like the animations for the original FNAF jump scares are simple, which results in them being predictable after your first couple goes, but these glitches throw an element of unpredictedness into the mix. It makes things hella creepy, okay? Anything that seems like it's not intentional is always creepy as hell. Like if Scott had made these jump scares intentional or like made them sporadic like this in the game, it would have been a lot freakier. But this glitch is actually what happened for the thumbnail of multiple videos as well. Okay, I've tried to recreate it multiple times. It looks scary, that's why I used it as a thumbnail. Getting close to the end in number 3, go Twitches. Yes, I'm referring to the Disney Channel original movie Twitches, and yes, I'm using it in reference to FNAF. Deal with it. Apparently, the animatronics can just start freaking out when in the middle of jump scaring you, resulting in probably what is actually a scarier jump scare. Like, these animations for the original FNAF jump scares are pretty simple, which results in them being predictable after your first couple goes, but this glitch allows an element of unexpectedness. It throws that into the mix and then can really make things seem hella creepy. Anything that seems like it's not intentional is always creepy as hell. Like if Scott had made these jump scares, or at least had them be intentionally sporadic like this, the game would have actually been a lot freakier. This glitch is actually what inspired the thumbnail of the last part as well, and it's probably gonna also be the thumbnail of this part. Just, it's freaking nuts. It's scary. Okay. Penultimately, in at number 2, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. This was an early glitch that was also removed prior to Sister Location's full release, but it was experienced by one of the most popular comedian YouTube FNAF gamers, Markiplier, okay? Some would deem him the FNAF king, but you know what? I'm the only one who's made 365 FNAF videos. He was granted early access to Sister Location, and it was during his early playthrough where he found a very frustrating time when he was put in the spring lock suit by a baby, and he had to wiggle to shake off all the mini arenas, also winding up those spring locks. But it turns out that he had such an impossible time his first time around that the difficulty in the code was accidentally left just at like max, okay? Him playing through this game actually allowed Scott to see the glitch and actually enabled him to turn down the difficulty. So thank you, otherwise nobody would have completed this game, and if you did, it would have been harder than 50-20 mode of Ultimate Custom Night, so good on you. And finally, in at number 1, Invisible Spring Trap. This is why I say leave your thoughts in the comments, okay? Because it really helps me when I need to make more parts to series that we've already done before. But thanks to its reigning nans on the original top 10 scary FNAF glitches or something, I have now learned about probably the scariest glitch of all time. How Springtrap can apparently turn invisible in FNAF 3 in FNAF VR. Now, I haven't personally experienced this glitch since I haven't really played much of FNAF VR because I don't want to touch that crap. Hell no. But according to its reigning nans, this is absolutely nuts and one of the worst experiences that you can have, because not only is this in VR, but Springtrap turns invisible, making him impossible to defend yourself against, and then you're also in VR. Now granted, they did leave out some vital information in the comments, like in what way is he invisible, like if it's just on the cameras, if it's in the vents, or if it's just everywhere, since if you can see him at the door at least, you'd be able to move him around close by you, even if you couldn't see him on anything. But I think that an invisible anything, especially an animatronic empowered serial killer, is going to be worthy of the #1 spot. And if this isn't real, you know what? Blame its reigning nans and not me. And at 10, teleporting. Now I don't know how many other people experience this, but you can actually seemingly get randomly teleported to other parts of the map, even places that you couldn't get to normally. This has caused me to lose progress on multiple occasions and even put me back in the daycare after hours of me just trying to figure out where the 5th generator was. I swear to God it only spawns in after like 30 minutes of you being in the dark. Anyway, you can get randomly teleported sometimes seemingly for no reason. Other times it kind of just makes sense, but more on that later. Sometimes there's just no reason why. This happened to me during my 24-hour stream and I lost so much progress. Yeah, I was so pissed. Stupid freaking staircase, man. How could I not get out? Why was there an invisible wall? Okay, invisible walls are stupid and shouldn't be used. Or at least they should be like a one-way mirror type situation and let me walk out from the area that I'd be trapped in while preventing me from getting to that area. Okay, like just in case something like this happens. At least with Skyrim you can console command your way out. FNAF is more broken than Skyrim. And at 9, failed animations. Okay, so while at times these can be funny, they're also fairly creepy. If this glitch happens at the right time at least. An animatronic not getting their animations is one thing, but it doesn't stop the animatronic in their tracks. No, they keep moving. In fact, they just sort of glide at you. They're frozen in either the classic T pose or in whatever pose they were in, and then they just keep moving. This is the easiest to recreate in the final acted boss fight, where you just shoot Chica while she's walking towards you in the hall. She'll slouch over, but she'll still be coming at you full force. It's weird. I have to be honest, it's also all kinds of confusing. Like, she wants me, but she is reluctant to keep chasing me, okay? I relate to that feeling. But I've never seen it from an outside perspective, okay? So it's really unsettling. This can also happen with any animatronic, including Music Man. So you can just like turn around after getting out of a vent, and he'll just be sliding at you, and then not even turn around when he goes back in the vent. It's truly horrifying. He just goes like... It's freaky. It's scarier when Music Man does it. Just imagine that was Music Man. And it ain't no Freddy Mac. Freddy is really the only true protection we have in this game. 100% effective. But sometimes we need him to get through some difficult sections, or the game makes us have to get inside our Freddy Mech because it's important to the plot or the situation. One such time is when we get kicked out of the daycare. The Sunny Drop animatronic calls for the guards, which spawns all 4 animatronics. However, there are 2 things that could go wrong in this situation. Either Freddy could just not be there, resulting in you having to book it with 3 animatronics chasing you, having to hope that you can hop in the recharge station without him, or Freddy could be there, but you're unable to get inside his chest cavity, which is the worst one because you'll lose valuable time trying to get in him while the other animatronics are trying to wreck you. And interestingly enough, okay, think about this, if you're piloting Freddy, you are a brain in a bone mech with meat armor piloting a robot mech with plastic armor. And I think that mechaception is pretty cool. But still, this whole like you can't get in Freddy thing can also happen at any time, not just during this scene, okay, so rip. And at 7, Music Man boss fight. The DJ Music Man boss fight is still one of the coolest moments from Security Breach. Not only does it provide another Princess Quest minigame arcade machine, but we also get to run through a hall while an obstacle course is being made in front of us, and isn't that the dream? There are various different paths that you can choose as well, as long as you're paying attention. At one point you can jump over a fallen shelf, or you can run to the left to go around it, although that takes a bit longer. I actually managed to do this on my first try, and I was so far ahead that some of the obstacles didn't even fall in front of me, but somehow Music Man ended up catching me right before I got into the security office, which made me absolutely furious. That was total BS, okay? The complete BS of that moment aside, the next time I tried it, I ended up getting it right, so I think it's safe to say that the Music Man chase is pretty cool. But apparently, sometimes you're unable to actually activate this. For some reason, the final lever at times can't be pulled, preventing you from continuing with the story, and restarting has proven not to help. It's currently unknown why this glitch happens, but if you run into it, I don't know how to help you. And at 6, no 29th achievement. There are 29 achievements in Security Breach, including the achievement to get all achievements. And a lot of people spend plenty of time trying to get those chieves. I spent some time making sure that I got the achievements associated with whatever I was doing during the stream. Like when I was playing Monty Golf, I made sure to get under par to get that achievement. But there's a glitch that sometimes prevents you from collecting all 29 achievements. And strangely enough, the achievement you can't get is the final one of having all the achievements. After you have all the achievements. So things do get very confusing because you can have 28 out of 29 achievements, but you're unable to get the final one, which is to have 28 out of the 29 achievements. Nobody knows why, and it's probably because the game is broken. One of the other achievements is to stun the staff while doing comedy in the Fazbear Theater. However, when I tried that during one of my streams, it didn't let me. It just, I couldn't shoot the dude. Like I couldn't, he was in the middle of a joke. Okay, and I took a picture with the camera, nothing. Dude didn't even flinch, which annoys me, okay, because I should have gotten that achievement. This isn't even the glitch that I'm talking about, because being able to get the final one is so freaking annoying, but then I couldn't get this one either. And if this is how the chieves work, I'm scared to think about the rest of the game. Halfway through into number 5, post-game saving. Now, one of the biggest issues I've had with this game is the inability to save the game after installing Roxy's eyes. Well, actually, technically, you can't save even, like, if you open up the monitor to check if that's the upgrade. As soon as you open up the monitor to install Roxy's eyes, even if you don't do it, you can't save. But then once you do install the eyes, you have to finish the game, which allows you to complete the true ending. But the worst part about this is that you have to do all of what comes next to get the true ending at once. If you don't do it and you end up getting caught, you lose basically everything, unless you had gotten down to Burn Trap already. This is extremely frustrating because it also makes collecting everything basically impossible. But there's actually a way to save post hours that people in my comments of the 24-hour stream blessed me with, okay? So I think this is something everyone should do. Thank you to everyone who mentioned that. If you can manage to make your way to Roxy's Raceway without dying, you can collect the head of the go-kart driver again, which ends up resetting your progress in the story by 45 minutes in-game, making it 5:15 a.m. once again, at least in terms of the story. So this means that you can go around and save again, but since you still have the party pass from staying after the ending, you can use it as well to get all the upgrades. This is a huge lifesaver, but also makes me think about the implications of such, since now, technically, until this glitch is patched, time travel is possible in FNAF games because of it. And we didn't have to jump in a ball pit to do it. In at 4, 2 Freddys. It's also possible to get 2 Freddy animatronics, although it won't really work the way you think it will. I know some of you sickos, okay? At least one of you instantly thought Freddy double team, okay? So you can chill out. Animatronics can't use Pokemon moves. However, this one at the very least happened to me and Eddie VR, although in different situations. Eddie's was more comedic, where he had just went down to parts and service for the first time and he had to crawl into the recharge station, and then Moondrop ends up taking Freddy. But when he got out, Freddy was just chilling there. He was smiling and waving like nothing was wrong, which certainly was not true. However, mine is slightly more freaky. See, this was around the beginning of my playthrough, and you can actually see this happen like in real time since I caught it on video, but when I went to El Chips to see what was going on, I couldn't find the next door because I'm blind. So I left to go through the vent at the bottom level, and I called Freddy over once I left El Chips. He came from the left side, okay, and ran through the barriers that are meant to keep you from going to Mazercise at this time, but he wouldn't let me climb inside. So I ran a couple feet and tried calling him again, only for him to come running up from the right. So I had one Freddy on either side of me, and honestly, I felt more freaked out than comforted, okay? It was just a weird feeling, you know? Like, one Freddy, okay. 2 Freddys, eh. Getting close to the end in number 3, long jump scare. In the same vein as a double jump scare, we have the long jump scare. Now, this is only in the same vein as the other one because they both have to do with jump scares. However, in FNAF 1, it was possible to prolong a jump scare and continue the night. The only difficulty behind this would be that you had to keep pulling the monitor back up before the jump scare completes. If you were able to do this though, the jump scare would reset, but also time would keep progressing. So in theory, if you could keep it up long enough, giggity, then you would be able to keep the jump scare going until the end of the night. Hell, even from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. you could be getting jump scared. It would just be difficult to keep going long enough for the night to finish. However, with Viagra, today's sponsor, you can keep it up all night long. No, I'm kidding. We're not sponsored by Viagra. Are you kidding me? Could you imagine? You think someone who talks about Five Nights at Freddy's and comic books on the internet for a living is going to get sponsored by that little blue pill? That's hilarious. Self-digs aside, this is certainly a scary glitch. Cause you know, jump scare. Can you tell that it's a rough mental health day? It's a no bones day. Penultimately, in at number 2, phasing. The phasing in this game is also a really big issue and has caused me multiple problems. This can happen one of 2 ways. Either the world just hasn't loaded, or when it does load, the loading actually causes you to fall through the floor you're standing on. This has happened to me on a couple of occasions. For example, when I came out of the vent the first time after Music Man chases you before you have the whole sequence with Glamrock Chica and the like storage room and stuff. Like, I dropped out of that vent and nothing had loaded. I thought it was a secret because like I could see a whole bunch of doors until I took a couple steps and then fell through the floor, only for it to load above me. So I was wandering around for a while, okay, genuinely confused as to what I should be doing and seriously debating if this was intentional or not because it's a f***ing FNAF game. So what did I do? I jumped off the ground that I had landed on and I just was falling into the mysterious black void under the Pizzaplex. And then all of a sudden, boom, I'm back in the Moondrop daycare, which makes absolutely no sense because we weren't even close to that area. So I have no idea how I got back behind that desk. Yeah, I thought it had put me somewhere to like where I saved last, but that also wasn't my last save. So I don't know, but I was freaking out and it was pretty scary. And finally, in at number 1, broken AI. Let's be honest, while William may be the dumbest person in this series, check the last 2 videos for reasons why, the animatronics don't seem any better. These bros are, for some reason, just broken in the worst ways possible. Not even like just the main 3. The staff bots also seem to be able to at times hone in on your location and just like wait for you until they can get to you or come directly at you for seemingly no reason. The animatronic AI also seems to get caught on multiple different objects on a regular basis, and I don't get how they're able to do this. Like, it's a flower pot, just go around it. And the entirety of the whole Monty situation I described earlier in the West Arcade. He was just flying across my screen. And all I had to do was get his attention while on the stairs, because he can't jump up and forward, just up or forward. So he lunged at me, clipped through a wall, then spent the rest of that section just flying around, being unable to interact with me. It was actually pretty funny, and while fun, it was also terrifying, because he'd fly right past me, screaming for the little boy to come here, okay? Which sounded a lot like the intro to a show featuring Chris Hansen.
Number 10, mask safety. So we're starting with something that admittedly is not the most scary, but don't worry, we're gonna get there. Also, as Connor said, he dragged me here, okay? This was a hard list to do, so I hope you all enjoy it. Mewtwo Gamer brought this one to my attention, and I want to say thank you so much for doing so. They shouted it out in the comments for the part 1 to this list, and here Mewtwo basically shared that when they were playing a game of FNAF 2, when they put on the Freddy mask and went to go check their screens, the mask actually remained on. Now, this surprised and startled them. Also, I feel like looking at a screen through a mask is just really creepy. Like, just as a visual, that's creepy. Perhaps this happened during the pandemic and the game was just like glitching to like match mask safety protocols at the time. They're like, keep that mask on, protect yourself from jump scares, and also other people from your breath and your spit. Whatever the reasoning, this is a glitch that would definitely be startling to experience, but also pretty useful as it gives you a sense of protection while you flip through the cans, which I like.
Minute 9, Glitch Trap. Yep, that's right. Technically, Glitch Trap is supposed to be a glitch in the grand scheme of the FNAF story, even though this doesn't actually end up being truly the case. But, you know, it's like someone orchestrated his creation, but it's close enough. In the story that we're told, with the exception of what Tape Girl's insider information tells us, that because, you know, we technically shouldn't have it, Glitch Trap is an unintentional glitch in the game. In our world, it's an intentional feature, hence why I'm putting it higher on the list, but by simple scariest glitch standards, technically Glitch Trap is the scariest glitch and should be number 1, since none of these other glitches will actually take over your brain and cause you to go on a mass killing spree because a kid serial killer possessed your noggin. But hey, what do I know, right? I know a lot. We've made over 300 goddamn FNAF videos, okay? We know quite a bit about this series, so don't come for us in the comments. We know our shit.
We know too much.
Cool your business. And today, Withered Bonnie Ghost. In FNAF 2, Withered Bonnie is one of the scariest animatronics, probably because of the lack of, you know, a face. It makes it look a lot more like a robot instead of an animal. Well, an anthropomorphic animal, but you know what I mean. If we're honest, the only thing that makes these animatronics not terrifying is the fact that they are animals. But with Withered Bonnie, you don't really get that kind of recognition, since, you know, again, there's no face. However, this glitch either has a load of implications, which causes me to get terrified just because of what I'm gonna have to think about to explain it, or it's scary because, like, what the hell. When Withered Bonnie shows up in your office in FNAF 2, it's actually possible to make them disappear. And I don't mean by using the Freddy head or closing your game, but I mean flicking the left vent light on and off will cause this Bonnie to blink in and out of reality, like when someone interacts with their parents in a time travel movie. I don't know why this happens in game. Could be that the light is just an image that flashes on the screen, and that's how it works, like, mechanics wise, but still, either way, it's freaky. And it's 7, Withered Bonnie Ghost. In FNAF 2, Withered Bonnie is probably one of the scariest animatronics in the game. Possibly because of, like, you know, the lack of face. It makes it look more like a robot instead of an anthropomorphized animal. And I mean, like, if we're honest, the only thing that makes these animatronics not terrifying is the fact that they are animals. But with Withered Bonnie, you don't really get that kind of recognition since, you know, there's no face. However, this glitch either has a load of implications, which causes me to get terrified because of what I'm gonna have to think about to explain it, or it's scary because, like, honestly, what the hell. When Withered Bonnie shows up in your office in FNAF 2, it's actually possible to make them disappear. And I don't mean by putting on the Freddy head or closing the game. Rather, I mean by flicking the left vent light on and off. Bonnie will look like they're blinking out of reality, like anyone who interacts with their parents in a time travel movie. No idea why this actually happens. It could just be that you turning the light on is just an image that flashes on screen in that particular section, and that's how it works mechanics wise. So it would replace Bonnie when it was on, and if there's someone in the vent then it's just a different image, but still, it's pretty freaky.
Number 6, red light, green light. What's scarier than an animatronic moving when you're not looking? How about an animatronic that moves when you are looking? Now, this is a glitch that some people have experienced before because, well, in one way, it kind of isn't a glitch. If you see an animatronic that moves while you're watching on a screen, but then the screen goes to static in between that movement, or goes, briefly to black, this is actually normal. However, the glitch happens when you see the animatronic straight up vanish without any static or any darkness accompanying it. This is something players like our wonderful sub Mewtwo Gamer have experienced. It's creepy and oddly not uncommon. If this were Squid Game, any animatronics caught moving in this way would be eliminated, by the way. Yikes. Has anyone created a Squid Game FNAF mashup game, by the way? Because I feel like that needs to happen, if it hasn't already. Has it happened already? Link me.
Halfway through in at number 5, you win, loser. FNAF AR is certainly an interesting adaptation of the games, making your room the security office, having to defend yourself from animatronics using shocks, and then ordering more animatronics that will attack you just for the fun of it, I guess. Even animatronic versions of their famous serial killer. Well, I won't even get into that. I still don't know why they thought that was a good idea. Well, according to Reddit user Plasma Dev, they experienced a glitch that did not make them happy. And no, it wasn't a glitch that made Chica get a little too close, because that would have made you happy. Instead, as he put it, quote, "I was caught off guard when an animatronic was rushing me. I turned around and zapped the animatronic fast. He disappeared like I was about to get jump scared, but then it also made a noise as if I won. I got the screen saying my streak had increased and that I got parts, except my streak reset after that screen. It appeared that I had zapped him at the last possible millisecond, and it registered both as me losing and winning. Which I have to say, that's pretty brutal, especially if you had a high streak. As anyone who uses Snapchat aside from me will know, high streaks are apparently the only thing that matters."
Number 4, rude animatronics. This is a thing that happened, or maybe still happens, in FNAF VR in FNAF levels 1 to 3. Right when you think you're about to win the game, the clock is shown rolling over to 6 AM from 5 AM, and you can actually get interrupted at that time by a toy animatronic like Toy Freddy or Toy Chica, or even a regular animatronic like Freddy or Foxy. Whichever rude animatronic you happen to get will pop up and jump scare you in the middle of the winning animation where the clock rolls over to 6 AM. This is not only terrifying, but of course, it's very frustrating. I'm not sure if this glitch is still around, but apparently it was a thing that multiple players experienced as late as 2019 from what I can see in the Steam forums, and it was something that needed to be patched. One of our subscribers even seems to have experienced this glitch as recently as this year. Ray Logan shared their very own live play vid of this happening to them just as they were about to win. I'm so sorry you had to go through that, my friend. That seems like it would be awful.
Getting close to the end in number 3, rude animatronics. This is a thing that happened, or maybe still happens, in FNAF VR and FNAF levels 1 to 3. Right when you think that you're about to win the game, okay, the clock is shown rolling over to 6 AM. You can actually get interrupted by a toy animatronic. Toy Freddy or Toy Chica, or even regular Freddy and Foxy, can just show up. Okay, whatever rude animatronic you get this time happens to pop up and jump scare you in the middle of the winning screen when the clock is actually turned to 6. This not only is terrifying because, you thought you were safe, but incredibly frustrating because you lose the game. I'm not sure if this glitch is still around, but apparently it was a thing that multiple players experienced as late as 2019. One of our subscribers even experienced the glitch as recently as like 2022 or 2021, 2020, something like that. Okay, Ray Logan shared their very own live play vid of this happening to them. And you know what? I'm sorry about that. That sucks.
Number 2, wiggle equals death. This was an early glitch that was also removed prior to Sister Location's full release, but it was experienced by one of my favorite game playing and overall just comedic YouTubers, Markiplier. He was granted early access to Sister Location, and it was during this early playthrough that he had a very frustrating time when he was put in the spring lock suit by Circus Baby and had to wiggle to shake off the mini arenas while also winding up the spring locks. Now it turns out he had such an impossible time the first time around because the difficulty was accidentally left like super way up on this part of the game, or it was just set to a level that was way too difficult. His playing it actually allowed Scott Cawthon to see the glitch here and tweak this part of the game prior to its full release. Thank goodness. Otherwise, pretty much all of us would never be able to progress past this horrifying part of the game. Seriously though, I think this is one of the scariest parts of Sister Location for me. Mini arenas. Ugh.
And finally, in at number 1, Invisible Springtrap. This is why I say leave your thoughts in the comments, because it helps us if we end up having to make another part to these series. Because thanks to its raining nans on the last part in the original top 10 scary FNAF glitches ever, I have now learned about probably the scariest glitch ever. How Springtrap can actually turn invisible in FNAF 3 in FNAF VR. Now, I haven't personally experienced this glitch since I haven't played much of FNAF VR. I'm waiting for my own channel to get the subs, but according to its raining nans, this is freaking nuts. it's one of the worst experiences you can have. Since, you know, Springtrap turns invisible, making him basically impossible to defend against. Now, granted, they did leave out some vital information, like an explanation. Like, in what way is he invisible? Like, if it's on the cameras, or if it's in the vents, or if it's just everywhere, since if you could see him at the door, like if you turn to look at the door, at least you'd be able to see that he's there, and then you could like try to like scare him away, even if you couldn't see him on the cameras. But I think like invisible anything, especially an animatronic empowered killer, an intent booking it. When the power goes out, you're usually done for, but usually you just have to sit there and wait for your death, unless you end up exiting and restarting the game, because you might as well if you're guaranteed death, right? Well, this is fairly well known, but you are actually always guaranteed death when that slowed March of the Toreador plays, because thanks to the way the game works, the time to 6 a.m. is still counting down. I mean, which makes sense given how time works in real life too. It doesn't just stop because an animatronic decided to start singing a song that was in the public domain. So in all honesty, while waiting for that jump scare, or in the middle of any jump scare really, you can survive to end your shift. And the reason this is scary is because of the implications that it has. That once 6 a.m. hits, you just freaking book it to the door. So you, like, no stopping, no slowing down, okay, no tripping like in every horror movie ever, and you instead just beeline it and like it faster than Chica on her way to get free pizza. And this implies that you can do it at any time in the game, but you willingly stay there to get tortured, and then just with the ultimate threat of death. I mean, which either makes you an adrenaline junkie or me, because today on my lunch break I learned that my toaster is waterproof. There should always be like the threat of death, right? But like it has to be the right amount of threat of death, otherwise it's not worth it. And at 9, Golden Freddy. Now, it's unknown whether Golden Freddy's jump scare was intentionally meant to crash the game or not. If you're unaware because you haven't played the game or just never been jump scared by Golden Freddy, if Golden Freddy gets you during whatever nights he's active, instead of sending you back to the main menu of the game where you can try the night over, he sends you right to the desktop and closes the game. Now, this was originally thought to be a glitch, but with the addition of Golden Freddy doing the same thing in FNAF 2, we thought that perhaps it was intentional. However, the biggest issue with this is that if it was originally a glitch, that's freaking terrifying. Imagine how absolutely messed up that would end up being. Not because of like any like lore implications or whatever, but because of how many theories there would be about why it was happening like that. And then maybe it proves that the FNAF series is actually cursed and that there are aspects that are real and Afton is trying to escape into our world. Because basically, okay, it's scary because it means a whole lot of pointless work for me, having to talk about all that. So I'd rather not do it, and let's just leave it at the fact that it was an intentional glitch. And it ain't stuck, Foxy. Thanks to a couple users on Steam, I found out that in FNAF 1 in FNAF VR's flat mode, you can close the left door and spam the button that allows you to peek out, triggering a Foxy attack. Foxy will eventually get stuck and stay still in front of your door. Now, I don't know if this actually ends up causing him to block the door, preventing Bonnie from entering, but it was certainly an interesting glitch that could be very frightening. Imagine you forget about it, then you open the door and you find Foxy just waiting outside, but he doesn't move. He just stands there, waiting for the perfect opportunity to attack. I don't know, okay? I don't know if he actually ends up attacking. None of these comments were very specific about this glitch, like saying that they just said that he gets stuck at the door. Like, what does that even mean? Is he just frozen for the rest of the game, or is he like a oh no, what are you doing, step animatronics situation where they're just faking you to lure you into a false sense of security, and then boom, they tear you to shreds, and not in the good way. And at 7, Stuck Door. Not only will the animatronics play the stuck game, but apparently in the console port of FNAF 1, the doors will do so as well. And not in the classic way of just trying to mess with you, like they will actually be unoperational, particularly the right door, which is odd because the one that likes to stop working more, at least from my experience, seems to be the left door. I know what you're thinking, okay? They're supposed to do that, but that's not what I'm trying to say, okay? What they're not supposed to do is register that they're closed and then start consuming power like they are, but then not actually be closed and result in a Chica jump scare, because that's what happened to quite a few Reddit users from the looks. They hit the button and it closed the door, the power usage went up, however the door animation didn't play and it was still wide open. But since the sound and power had started working, they thought that it was just a visual glitch, so they kept going, only to get jump scared by Chica seconds later. Ah, what fun, right? Doesn't that sound like a wonderful time? What, it doesn't? How dare you say that? What makes you think of such a monstrosity? What are you doing, step electromagnet door that should work in the opposite way that it actually does in the game? And at 6, danger keep out call. The phone calls in FNAF are really something you only need once. After that, unless you're looking for lore, there isn't really much that they can help you with, unless you're absolutely trash at the game like yours truly. However, in the FNAF VR Curse of Dreadbear DLC, the final phone call for the Danger Keep Out minigame may be a little more than meets the ear, since if you can perform a series of actions with the call, or maybe it's just like you put it on hold or something, or at one point I think it's just you pick it up, something like that, you end up causing the whole area to turn static and pulse as if it was being scanned. The end result is that sometimes you just get put back to the starting screen of the DLC. And yeah, you don't complete the night, you gotta go back and you gotta try it again. But while it may be an intentional glitch, so I guess it's rather an Easter egg, it will still certainly freak you out the first time you see it, okay? So it counts. This scared the absolute living daylights out of me the first time I saw it, so maybe now that I've warned you, you won't be as terrified. You're welcome. Halfway through into number 5, double jump scare. Did you know that in FNAF's coding there are actually jump scare priorities? Yeah, some animatronics are more favored than others to deliver the killing blow. For example, when you run out of power, Freddy is the highest priority so that they can guarantee that he jump scares you. This also stops any other animatronic from being able to jump scare you. However, the same concept also applies to the main gameplay, which results in some pretty horrifying moments. For example, getting jump scared by Foxy only to have Chica interrupt him. This cuts off Foxy's jump scare and starts Chica's jump scare, resulting in you getting 2 for the price of 1. So you get double the value of your scare, making you crap your pants double time. And that's not the only one that can get interrupted. If you're getting jump scared by Chica, Bonnie, Foxy, or Freddy, you can run out of power and be temporarily saved. This stops their jump scares and does the whole setup of another Freddy one thanks to there being no power. This can actually also help save you if you're close to 6 AM, since like I said, the time is still counting when you're waiting for Freddy to get you. So if you do get jump scared just before it turns 6 and then you run out of power, you can actually still win, but that's a lot of conditions. And technically, you can get jump scared by Foxy, have it interrupted by Chica, then have it interrupted by Freddy in that way. And at 4, silence. This actually happened to me in one of our videos titled Everything Goes Wrong in FNAF VR, and honestly, everything went wrong in FNAF VR. I was playing the Foxy Corn Maze minigame when all of a sudden my screen went black and my audio cut out. This was certainly not intentional in the game since, you know, it relies on sound, but once my camera came back, I wasn't able to hear anything at all, so I had to try to complete the game with no audio. I have to be honest, absolutely horrifying. The only kind of relieving part about it was that I didn't have to listen to the crows, or the actual relief my bowels felt into my pants. But in all honesty, this glitch was absolutely atrocious. Having to navigate a maze with no audio indication as to where Foxy could be or where the purple key is going to be, that was probably the worst thing that could have happened. And I had to heighten all my other senses to get an idea for what was next. I felt like Daredevil, kind of, but like hearing Daredevil. My visuals, okay, that was the best clue I had, so I had to make sure that my eyes could pick up on every minute detail. Okay, 10 out of 10, horrifying. Don't recommend. At least the jump scare wasn't as bad. Getting close to the end into number 3, teleporting enemies. Not only can you randomly teleport, seemingly at random, but your enemies can also seemingly teleport too. Now, one of the points of this is to make it like they're always stalking you. However, when one of the staff bots catches you and summons an animatronic like Chica, you shouldn't be able to then teleport behind me again while I'm looking at you. That seems kind of overpowered. Like, how are they able to do that? I get it's for spook factor, but if I stun them, they shouldn't be able to teleport behind me. And sometimes they'll just start going nuts with teleporting. Like when I was in the West Arcade, Monty lunged at me, missed, and ended up zooming all over the place, going through walls and stuff. It certainly helped me in the long run since I used his inability to chase me to my advantage, but it's still freaking horrifying, okay? Just seeing an animatronic teleporting, trying to blast my ass, okay? Or I guess just kill me, because I was the one with the phaser blaster, therefore I was doing the ass blasting. But ultimately, in a number 2, overpowered Springtrap. Apparently, FNAF VR flat mode has a lot of bugs that result in ultimate horror. Well, during the FNAF 3 sections of FNAF VR flat mode's gameplay, you have to fend off Springtrap, obviously. However, for some reason, apparently there's a glitch that results in Springtrap being insanely overpowered and being able to jump scare you instantly. It's unknown what causes this glitch, but apparently at times if Springtrap enters the vents, he can instantly make his way to the end, despite the vents being closed. The only way to prevent this is by putting the camera on one vent, like one of the vent cameras, and then leaving it there. If you don't, Springtrap can just make his way through the entire vent system instantaneously. He also is just able to make his way to your door instantly and jump scare you apparently, which in this version of FNAF 3 is scarier since it's more of a jarring jump scare rather than the originally slow moving towards the camera at you kind of thing that pissed everyone off. But still, instant death, definitely not a nice and thoughtful glitch. Finally, in a number 1, you lose. Another one I got off the Steam forums thanks to a specific user, this time known as Weezer. They said, I had a bug in FNAF 2 and Night 2 in FNAF VR flat mode where I had the Freddy mask on while fending off Toy Bonnie. It hit 6 AM, I take the mask off and get immediately jump scared, making me lose the night even when I beat it. Which is an odd way of putting it, but what I believe he means is that the game made him take off his mask because it was 6 AM, but then he ended up getting jump scared. Which is odd because beating the night mechanic should be more of a priority and actually should prevent any animatronic from jump scaring you, even if it's just a layout that pops up on the screen. However, if the game clock said 6 AM and you took the mask off before Bonnie was gone, that's kind of your own fault, man. Even if the clock said 6, since the clock doesn't normally say 6 and the night just ends. Cause if the night would just end if it was supposed to say 6. I mean, I don't know what's scarier though, getting jump scared when you should have beaten the night, or the fact that the shift didn't end at 6 and you'd probably be working there forever, 24/7.